We're going to go ahead and kick off media availability here at Darlington Raceway. We are now joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Chase, you returned to Darlington, the defending race winner. You've since captured your Xfinity Series championship and made a handful of Cup Series starts. How has the competition in the series aided young drivers like yourself as you progress through your career?
Yeah, I think I think it's good to have an opportunity to race against the Cup guys when you're kind of first getting going, and I know that's a mixed subject, but in my opinion, I think it's good. I think there's a lot of great experience to be gained, and I think the Xfinity Series kind of allows that, and allows you to get used to some of the things that you might see later on down the road a little bit of a time instead of being thrown at you all at once.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start over here on the left.
Hey, Scott Chancellor with the Florida Morning News. What goes through your mind when the siren sounds in your hometown when you win a race, just like your dad used to for your dad?
Yeah, well, I've never been there to hear it, so I don't 100% know what it's like. But for me, I know that's if it's going off, that means it was a good day. It had going off for a long time, so I'm hoping it's not broke and we can get it to ring again here soon.
We'll go to Bob.
Bob Parker, CSPN. How familiar are you with Bill's winning the Winston Million? I mean, did you do any research or anything since you're kind of running somewhat of a throwback scheme and just the anniversary this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously I wasn't here, but I've watched videos and seen the broadcasts and stuff and videos of that win and stuff, and I've heard him tell stories of the weekend and kind of how they went about. They didn't have a ton of cars, and they had kind of set that car aside leading into that weekend. And I think they had run here in the spring, and I don't know if he had won that race or finished second, but that instead of running that car a whole lot more, they just kind of set it to the side and kind of left it for this race just in case it came down to it. I think they had a good car at Charlotte, I guess, the week before and had an opportunity to win it, and had something happen. So just the way they went about their whole strategy of going about this race and having a chance to win $1 million was spectacular in itself. But to have the mindset and the plan to go about it that way, and then to show up and execute like they did, I think is very impressive to do with what little they had back then.
Bruce Martin, Speed Sport Magazine. You're a young driver just getting started, but a lot of times you hear veteran drivers talk about, that was a stupid move somebody made. In your mind, what do you see as the difference between a brave move and a stupid move?
Well, I guess if it works, it's smart. But, yeah, I don't know. If you want to see a stupid one, last week for me was a couple bad ones. So I don't know. You try to put yourself in good positions, and you try to be aggressive when you feel is necessary. Obviously, you don't want to be too aggressive, so it's definitely a fine line. But there's times where you might have to get braver than you might want to. But at the end of the day, if you can luck up and make it work, that's good. And if not, maybe taking the road to try not to put yourself in a bad spot is a good one too. So I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's definitely a fine line and something that you can't really prepare for it. You just have to be in the situation, and I think the more you're in those moments, hopefully the better you get at them, and that's definitely, I think, an important piece of the race weekend and trying to win races.
All right, we'll come up here to Pete.
Chase, Pete Yakabelli, Associated Press. Chase, people talk about how the experience at this place really helps, yet, last April or 18 months ago, you were able to kind of navigate this place pretty well. What was it about Darlington that maybe suits your style?
Oh, well, I don't know. For me, we try to take it a week at a time and treat each weekend as a new one, and kind of that's the way I look at this weekend. I don't really look at it any differently than I did coming into last season. So, I think the biggest thing with last year is, we had a fast car. Our team brought a really fast race car to the track from the get-go, and for me, coming to a racetrack for the first time, and I said this last year, when you can show up and your car drives halfway, really good like it was in practice or pretty close, that allows you to get used to the racetrack. And we were able to make longer runs, and we didn't have to come in and get the splitter off the racetrack and make those really small adjustments that That doesn't seem like a lot, but it takes away track time. So that allowed me to make long runs, and I think that was the biggest thing that helped. And going into the end of that race with Greg wanting to put on 4 tires and ended up getting us in the top lane, and everything just kind of worked out. And that's, for us, yes, things do have to work out for you to go and have a good day, but at the same time, we had a fast car and we gave ourselves a chance. We'd run in the top 5 all night, and those are kind of the days you have to have. And I think if you can run inside the top 5, and or even better, that's going to give you chances and opportunities to hopefully get some wins. So we were able to do that, and I think that was a big key, was just showing up, having a good car, and allowed me to get some track time and being, having good track position all night.
Chris.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Chase, 9 races through this 15-race stretch for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. How would you guys rate your performance and your outlook moving forward to Charlotte?
Got loud. I think, for the most part, I feel like we've been working in the right direction, and I've especially been pleased with just the work ethic of our guys and how hard they've been working and not giving up. And in this last stretch of the season, there's not a whole lot of racing left. When you look out on the schedule, see only 9 races to go. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of laps, a lot of racing, a lot of things can happen. So I just been very impressed with the work ethic of all of our guys, and especially going through that road race stretch. We don't have just a ton of road race cars. We had 2, and we were fortunate to get through the first couple and able to take that same car back to Road America. And it's one thing to take the same car, to a road race 3 out of 4 weeks, but to take it and make it better every time, I think that says a lot about our group. And I thought from a road race standpoint, I thought our cars got better from Watkins Glen. I thought it was better at Mid-Ohio, and I thought it was double that jump at Road America, and I think that says a lot. So I'm excited about where we're at. I think, like I said, there's a lot of racing left. A lot of things can happen, so we're going to keep digging and hopefully try to put ourselves in position to give ourselves a chance to hopefully win a race or 2 and try to gain some points.
We'll go to Kelly and then Bob.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Chase, Sunday's your final Cup start for the season. What are some of the things through all of these handful of starts that you've already made that maybe you're putting in your memory bank before you come back next year full time?
Yeah, well, I hope we're here Sunday. That's the big thing, is getting in the race first. So that's been the biggest thing this year is I think having to qualify in those races. It's not the most easing feeling going into qualifying, knowing that you're not in the show, and it's a fine line of wanting to put up a good lap and not doing something real dumb. So just trying to keep that in mind. Hopefully we can get in the show. But, I think it's definitely been a big learning experience. Definitely Martinsville was, as everybody saw, was a bad day for me. But it definitely not the way I wanted to get things started. But I think since then, I thought Richmond went really good. Indy was okay. Had a good time at Charlotte. Thought we had a good car there and got some damage. So I think as a whole, 5 races, to be with a new group of guys for the most part, working with Kenny Francis, I think has been good. It's not a ton of time, and I think all those guys have done a really good job to kind of progress that learning curve between myself and the team. I think better than you could expect, in a short amount of time. So I've been really pleased with that, and I think that's the biggest thing, is getting used to a new group of guys, and definitely moving to next year, we're going to have to do that again. So as I came in to run these 5 races, everybody was really open and eager to get going. And I think that's the mindset you have to have, and I think the 24 guys will be the same way as we move into next year and get going.
Bob.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Do you feel fortunate that this race is one of the 2 low downforce races, considering most people believe that you'll be running at least close to this package next year?
Yep, absolutely. Great question. I think, I'm excited about that. I think more than I have been about the other ones, because as you said, it kind of, we obviously don't know what's going to happen, but if that is going to be the move for next year, we've been fortunate to drive the normal package, the high downforce package, and then this weekend hopefully we can get in the show and run the low downforce. So if that is the direction they go, I think that'd be great. I think it's very important to have a race under your belt with that package. I think the cars are going to drive a lot different than they did at the other races that I've run. From what I've seen watching Kentucky on TV, it seemed like the cars were handling different, and watching practice and stuff, guys went about the racetrack differently. So I definitely think that's huge, and to have this weekend, in that configuration will hopefully help us moving forward.
Chase, this is a 2-part question. How has your dad's NASCAR legacy inspired you, and has it sunk in yet that your next Sprint Cup race after this is going to be in the number 24?
Now, obviously, Dad's, he's played, a huge role in my racing. He's been around since day one, and I can count on one hand the amount of races he's missed in my career, and that says a lot. He's not the he's a busy guy, and he has a lot of things to do, and he's made a point to go to a lot of my races, and he's definitely, the reason I have the opportunity, I've had today. We've done a lot of racing together, been fortunate to go to a lot of racetracks, and he's definitely been involved in a major way. And as far as the Cup races go for next year, it really hasn't sunk in yet. And as I've told a bunch of people, I don't know that that's really going to set in until we get there and get going. There's just so much going on right now with wanting to try to get in the Cup race this weekend. Running the Xfinity race. Trying to make gains there. There's just so much going on. I don't think it's really had time to set in. But I think as we get closer and closer to Daytona and we get through the end of this season, I'm sure, as conversations ramp up, more meetings start to happen, we start going to get fitted in seats and all that stuff, I think that's when it's going to start to set in. And definitely when we get to Daytona and start those practices down there, it'll be a special moment for me.
We'll go ahead and finish up with Pete.
Jay, speaking of the 24, obviously, Jeff's last time here at Darlington as a regular driver, thinking about him winning 7 times here, that's an amazing feat in itself. What can you take? I mean, what does it take to kind of build that mastery on a track, and what can you take from that as you go forward in the 24?
Yeah, well, that's a tough question because this isn't the only place he's dominated at, and usually when you see a list of guys who've won at a racetrack repeatedly, that's not the only place they win at. So he's obviously made history at a lot of other places other than just here, and I think that separates him from a lot of other guys. He's been able to win at so many of the racetracks that they go to. I think there's only a handful he hadn't won at, and that's just amazing in itself. So I think that's the biggest thing you look at there. I think if a guy wins at a racetrack a bunch, odds are he's won at other places a lot too. So just keep that in mind, and definitely great goals to shoot for, but you got to start somewhere, and any win anywhere would be great for me. I'm not going to get picky. I know that.
All right, Chase, thanks for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Yep, thank you.